find the right people on your team to help you implement AI technology. Kevin?
Thank you, Terry. So if we focus in on that 54%, and we're trying to build our teams, our AI teams, and we want to look around the world to find them. Top AI resources can be very difficult to find, so we really need to think globally and beyond our own backyard. That said, even though we have a global team, you can have local sub-teams or pods. Those local sub-teams, when you're working with them, you can assign them activities based on skill sets. You can have one team working on a GUI, another team working on serverless technologies, and multiple teams working on various AI components of your delivery. That's where I may take two different teams or different individuals and give them exactly the same assignment without any knowledge or awareness of the other team. This technique allows us to understand and lets them visualize and solve problems in their own unique ways. And then we figure out who the champion is, and then we take the best parts from the challenger and introduce the teams together and raise their skills together. We also start with a much larger team than we need, and when we do that, the champion and challenger will let us find the champions on the teams as well, so we can find out who are our true AI mindsets that we've pulled together in the team. We can let go some of the individuals that are not as highly skilled and put them onto other assignments, but we can find our true best leaders in those groups. From there, those teams have to have a lot of creativity and tenacity, particularly in AI. This is important in all projects and in all business, of course, but creative and tenacity in AI, we have to solve problems like the human mind from many different aspects. That's part of what AI is. It's looking at the same problem from many different directions and coming to probabilities of conclusions. So creativity and how we approach these problems is very important. Tenacity, of course, is very important as well, because a lot of times with AI, we can come up with overwhelming problems and feel like we can't solve it. And to go back to the drawing board and to start over and research and over again until we find a way to solve the problems. So tenacity is exceptionally important. Every team, every technical project needs a technical leader. On AI projects, there tends to be a lot more technologies in the basket than you might find in a typical project. We use quite a large group of technologies when we're solving AI problems that we might not use in a normal project. That said, that technical leader isn't necessarily the special mind that you need to lead your AI project. On truly challenging AI projects, we need to have at least one highly skilled, visionary AI mindset. And that individual is going to help rise that mindset on the team and build that requirement and capability of your team going forward. It's usually only one individual that has that true vision of where you want to go and what you're looking for to solve. From there, one of the things about those special minds, sometimes those special minds are quite unique individuals and can be unique and challenging to work with. But that comes with those special skills that they have, and it's well worth the effort to bring that together and figure out how to work together. So if we talk about leadership on these teams, it's really about managing expectations. Managing the expectations of your boss who thinks everything is easy and can be done tomorrow. Managing the expectations of your clients. Managing the expectations of your own team. Understanding what their abilities are and what they're not. Because a lot of times you might find someone who thinks that they are exceptionally good and they may not be, and someone who you need to coach a lot because they can do a lot more than they realize they can. When you start working through those, as a leader, you need purpose, focus, creativity in different ways than you may normally do. If you're solving an academic AI project, it's a little bit different than trying to actually solve a business problem and deliver a product to market. So having that depth of understanding not only of all the AI technologies, but having the experience and knowledge of how the business actually works. So you can bounce those two things out. That helps you when you're working through your projects to truly bounce things and get them to market faster. We don't have to solve everything before we bring it to market, but we have to be able to get traction and momentum on the AI aspects of the project. You also need to succeed and fail fast. You can spend a lot of money on an AI project that doesn't have the legs and may not be successful. So how do we do that? You don't actually have to build the whole project, but you need that special mind, that person who can visualize the entire product delivery and how it's going to be approached and solved. So by doing that, you can understand where you're going to have challenges, where you have research to do, where the friction in your project is going to be. So that, if you can't see how to solve it from end to end, you better not commit to doing it in the business, because you might find yourself lost in the theoretical AI versus delivering an actual product that makes a difference to your business. Of course, overfitting and over-engineering are common problems in an AI project as well. Over-engineering, I couldn't tell how many times we've looked at projects and someone thought we should apply AI, and there's no need for AI whatsoever. It's just a complex problem, but it's not an AI problem. So if you try and solve it with AI, you end up over-engineering it. It's a very common issue. And overfitting is when you're trying to solve everything and make it perfect. And the world of AI is no different than your own mind. It is not perfect. It's a world of probabilities. And you can start with low probabilities and start making a difference and start evolving over time and get better and better. It doesn't mean your first version has to solve everything. Get it in, get it working, and evolve over time. And lastly, working with less data. We're not all Google or Facebook. We don't have an enormous amount of information that we can work with in our data models. So coming up with approaches that we can solve our business problems with smaller data sets is essential to success. So coming up with approaches around that is extremely important. And this whole idea of team leadership and building the AI mindset across your team, with yourself, and with your management, who might not completely understand what's happening, is the most critical part of AI team leadership. Terry?
Great. Thanks, Kevin. So now what? So if we now know that AI is a difference maker in the marketplace, and we now know what the team has to look like in order to accomplish whatever our goals are going to be, where do we have to start? What are the areas that we're seeing where people are starting from an AI perspective? So this is from a study that we released in June of this year, and we went to 6,000 senior leaders in organizations around the world. And what we came back with was these are the 13 areas that people are looking to apply AI within their businesses today. So if I'm an entrepreneur, or if I'm an organization, the CEOs of the world have actually gone and done the homework for us and told us these are the areas that they're looking for AI to be applied in their businesses. So you can see it was actually quite surprising to us is that number one was actually information technology. I actually thought it was going to be in customer experience or in operations or those kinds of areas, but the CEOs and the CIOs of these major corporations actually came back and said, we actually think that AI is going to help us most, first at least, in the IT space. As you go around here, you can actually see that sales, information security, innovation, et cetera, all of these different areas give us the roadmap to say, this is where we want to focus our efforts to be able to move AI forward inside of our organizations. So what are the approaches? We now know that AI is important. We now know what the skills are to accomplish it. We have the roadmap that says, here's the 13 areas that we want to go and focus on. How do we get started? So there's two ways that we see organizations starting with AI when they don't have any AI expertise inside their own organizations today. The first one is what we call a cognitive garage. So think of it like a little bit like where we bring client's team and the IBM team into a co-located environment where we have the skills that Kevin was talking about, and we bring them with the client, potentially into the client's environment, to help them learn about how to manage, how to deploy, how to do, if you will, AI inside the organization. And we have a workbook, if you will, or a work plan that has over 100 different AI patterns that organizations can apply inside the organization. Because a lot of the problems that organizations are trying to solve are similar. From one bank to the next bank to the next, from one telco to the next telco to the next telco, the problems that they're trying to solve are actually quite similar. Yes, there's the business adjustment that needs to take place for each individual organization, but the actual problems they're trying to solve are very, very similar. So we have these work plans that allow organizations to use these templates, if you will, to be able to speed up the deployment of AI inside the organization. And what we find is that the cognitive garage is actually a first step for a lot of companies to get to the point where we've now taught them. We've shown them how squads work. We've taught them about Scrum Masters. We've taught them about AI. We've said where AI is the right solution, where AI is the wrong solution, et cetera. And then what the next step is for these organizations is to actually implement their own incubator. Because now that they know what to do, they actually have an opportunity to transform business. They don't need an organization like IBM. They now want to go to market, and they want to be able to take the things that we've taught them and move their businesses forward in the future. So if you're an entrepreneur today, you've got a decision, or an entrepreneur or an organization today, you've got an opportunity to decide which one of these two areas that you're looking for your organization, and it's really dependent upon the skills that you've got and the place that you want to go, and how many of those special minds or the people with the AI mindsets that you've got in your company today. And if you want to have a longer conversation about this later today, please come by and find Kevin or I. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
再次感谢以上2位嘉宾的精彩演讲。